to balance that with sort of the implications of the economy. This makes all of that much more difficult. And so, in the Pulse of American Workers survey, one of the things that comes through there is this insecurity that individuals have around their own financial outlook. This only compounds that, right? So for every individual, you're sort of looking at before this, an uncertain sort of economic environment, and are we making enough progress against inflation and other needs? And now I think that picture gets murkier, and that's even more anxiety to the individual American.
It's interesting you mentioned that word insecurity. I could go back and watch the conversation that we had a year ago.
Yeah.
And I opened by asking you how the American worker is doing. And you used some words that hit me pretty hard recently. You said they felt, quote, insecure about having relevant skills in a rapidly changing environment. They felt vulnerable about the lack of financial stability to get through a pandemic. Here we are, a year later, lots of stimulus later. The unemployment rate at that point was just under 6.5%. Now it's under 4%. How's the American worker doing right now?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When we look at survey to survey over service, as you said, we've been doing this since 2017, and you look at the trends over that period of time. The two things that I spend a lot of time looking at are around financial security. Obviously, we care a lot about that, both for our own employees and because, American workers have customers at the end of the day, too. So we spend a lot of time thinking about that. Because ultimately, financial security starts with having a good job with benefits. To have a good job with benefits requires that you have a skill base. And unfortunately, Sam, what we're finding is that we're not making much progress on either of those fronts. We're actually maybe even going backwards. So our most recent survey said 70%, so 42% of the survey indicated that they're actually in a better financial position today than they were a year ago. But 70% of them, which is pretty remarkable. Yeah, that's a good number, right? So that's better off. But the problem is they're still insecure because they have this gap. And all they've done is they've made progress against the gap, the remaining gap. So 70% of them are insecure about their financial future and retirement. That's up 10 points from the beginning of the pandemic and 5 points from when we surveyed just a quarter or so ago.
So how do you square that with the Great Resignation?
Yeah,
and what we've seen from the American worker in terms of not just job switching, but leaving the workforce entirely?
Yeah, so it's part of the reason they're leaving. There's sort of, as we think about those motivators, compensation is in there. They are looking to leave in order to find sort of a better financial equation. That financial equation includes not just direct comp, but benefits as well. And so there is a motivation there that's sort of behind this Great Resignation. But the other pieces of that actually have to do with one of the topics that were in this earlier panel, which is it's really about a big motivator there is around this whole work-life balance. People are looking for greater flexibility than they're able to get, and they're also looking for career development. Those are the two things outside of compensation that come up repeatedly in our surveys. And if you look, in fact, so in our survey, 22% of the people we surveyed had recently changed jobs, right? 1/3 of them took a pay cut when they changed jobs. That blew me away when I saw that statistic.
They took a pay cut because ostensibly they wanted a job with a better quality of life, or what they interpreted as a better quality of life, more flexible.
Yeah. So like 30% of them actually took a part-time job or a gig job because they were trying to find that type of balance. But yeah, the motivator seems to be that, compensation is always the motivator that becomes table stakes as leaders think about these things in their own workforce. But the reality is so much deeper than that. And this flexibility around balancing work and life has become a major motivation for individuals.
That was Prudential Financial Vice Chair Rob Townsend. My conversation was part of it with him from the Bloomberg Live Work Shifting 2.0 event. You can see more of that interview at BloombergLive.com. Carol, I shared a few anecdotes that didn't make that particular cut. But with a friend, with a group of friends who I haven't seen in a while over the weekend, and one of them's an architect, and said that at his firm and firms that he works with, young architects are saying, we want to work 4 days a week and get the same pay. And their bosses are like, well, I guess, okay, because they don't have anyone else to go to. The labor market's so tight.
Because they need it. Or need them, I should say. Well, and this is what the whole event has been about. It's, people wanting flexibility, they care about their work environment. I caught up with keeping the impact, Warren about Dennis, and he said, wow. So when you go to work, right, when you go to work, you're just thinking about the culture, the environment, and that's actually more important than what you're compensated.
Yeah, lots of really interesting conversations from that Bloomberg Live event today. Be sure to check it out at the Bloomberg BloombergLive.com.
Yeah, and the office is changing, use of technology, there's so much there. So check it out. All right, we've got an interesting guest, fun guest coming up right here on Bloomberg Radio.
It's on with Joe Matthews here at 5 p.m. on Bloomberg Radio. Just speak with Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana on Russia's aggression in Ukraine. Down up at 5 on Bloomberg Radio.
Wall Street prepares for the latest read on inflation.
CPI's March 10th, the Fed decides on March 16th.
Economists predict the highest numbers in 4 decades. They're going to want action at the White House. Instant reaction on Bloomberg surveillance.
At what point do people say, wait a second, this is prolonged?
And what it means for the Fed.
This trend is no friend to the Fed.
Inflation in focus. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 on Bloomberg 1130, the Bloomberg Business app, and Bloomberg Television.
Are you in possession of gold, silver, or platinum? Maybe even some rare coins or old paper money that you'd like to sell? Ask with immediate cash payments and is one of the largest, most trusted and ethical dealers and auctioneers of numismatic items in the U.S. for 90 years. Come visit our location on Park Avenue between 57th and 58th today for a free, no-obligation appraisal of your precious metal bullion items, rare coins, or old paper money. Whether you're in the market to buy or sell your valuable coins or precious metals, we can help. For more information or to speak to a trusted specialist, just call us at 212-582-2580. That's 212-582-2580. We'll help turn your collectibles into a generous cash payment today. Visit us in person or online at taxbowers.com. That's STACKSbowers.com. Stop by one of our locations today in New York City, Philadelphia, or Boston, coming in 2022.
Tech talent is in high demand at Avanade, a joint venture between Microsoft and Accenture. That's why Avanade executive Brett Newton says the company is funding student scholarships at NJIT and earmarking them specifically for women in STEM fields. What I really like about Avanade's scholarship program with NJIT is it's more than just a financial investment in students. It's a relationship that we bring them into. We take NJIT because it's a very different technical university. It's deeply rooted in solving business problems with technology, which is very much like Avanade. They're non-traditional in that they are much more focused and active in marrying technology to solving world problems and society problems. That's not normal in a lot of the engineering schools that we have relationships with in the past. NJIT is very innovative and very entrepreneurial. NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Learn more at njit.edu.
Dear Calvary Hospital, my mother Lucy was the best mom anyone could ask for. She lived a full 100 years appreciating life, especially her family. At the end of her life, when all other hospitals could not relieve her pain and suffering, Calvary Hospital did. She found all the comfort and love she needed there, as well as the quality of life she deserved. Even during the pandemic, Calvary's expert nurses and doctors kept Mom safe and out of pain. I was never concerned about her safety. Through technology, our entire family stayed in touch with her. Even on Mom's 100th birthday, we celebrated together, one last time as a family. Thank you, Calvary. Nancy and Donata.
This is Frank Calamari, president of Calvary Hospital. During this time, be assured that Calvary continues to provide the safest and healthiest environment for our staff, our patients, and their families.
Market disruption has accelerated the need for increased efficiency and scale in the asset management industry. Do you have the right technology to propel your firm's growth? Bloomberg Buy-Side Solutions are engineered to deliver a seamless enterprise experience so you can gain a competitive edge. Data, analytics, trading, risk, operations, connected. The buy side from every side. Visit bloomberg.com/buy-side.
It's 4:29 on Wall Street. Time for time traffic. We do it every 15 minutes right here on Bloomberg Radio. Escalating to Grand Central Parkway. What's going on?
It's a very busy place right now. There's 25 minutes eastbound on the Grand Central to Central to go from the LID out towards Union Turnpike westbound to slow traffic. Essentially from just South City Field over towards LaGuardia. An accident on the BQE eastbound at Queens Boulevard. It knocks out the left lane, delaying back to the Concertsville Bridge.
Oyster with a pushover car knocking out 2 lanes southbound of the Hutch. In the Bronx over at Pelham Parkway, still a very heavy ride of Manhattan. Both sides down up to the George Washington Bridge. Eastbound of the Belt, word of an accident at Cross Bays Boulevard. 20 minutes from Flatbush Avenue. Flooding still an issue on the eastbound BQE coming in towards the Brooklyn Bridge. The result of 25-minute delay. Holland Tunnel, 30 minutes out and in from 1 to 9. 20 minutes out over at the Lincoln Tunnel. A closure 46 down at Mount Olive. An accident with injuries closes the roadway westbound at Sand Shore Road. The Bloomberg 1130 3-day weather. For tonight, we'll see partly cloudy skies. Lows 30 to 35. Thursday, partly sunny. High 45 to 50. Friday, sun and clouds. It'll be windy, a high of 50. Saturday, not a good day. Rainy, windy, maybe some wet snow and a high of 50 to 55. Right now, light rain, 35 degrees in New York with the best rock in and out of the city. I'm in Delaney, Bloomberg 1130. Bloomberg Business Week. Continue.
The Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio in New York. Bloomberg 1130. To Washington, D.C. Bloomberg 99.1. To Boston, Bloomberg 1061. To San Francisco, Bloomberg 960. To the country, Sirius XM Channel 119. And around the globe, the Bloomberg Business app and BloombergRadio.com. This is Bloomberg Business Week.
Yes, indeed, everybody. Carol Masso and Tim Stanick live in our Interactive Brokers studio here on Bloomberg Business Week. We have been talking about all of the companies that are halting operations in Russia. We're going to talk with someone who understands branding, marketing, and advertising. Well-known name in the space.
Yeah, we're talking Donnie Deutsch. He's got the On Brand with Donnie Deutsch podcast. He's the host of that. You also recognize him, of course, from cable in the past. We're going to be chatting with him in just a few minutes. In the meantime, let's check what's going on in the after hours. Here's Charlie Bell.
Thank you very much. Earnings after ours. Can I just say we get great guests on this show?
You can say,
You know, we really do. It just never ceases to amaze me. And also on TV, too. Every day I come in, I'm like, we're talking to them. That's awesome. Here's what's going on. The Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ all rallying today big time. With the S&P up 107, up 2.6%. The Dow up 653, higher by 2%. NASDAQ up 460, up by 3.6%. 10-year down 28 seconds. 10-year yield 1.94%. Spot gold down 2.7%, 19.95 the ounce. Bitcoin surging today by 8.5%, 41,787. A ferocious rebound for the equity market. Oil heading in the other direction. Lots of big market stories today. West Texas Intermediate crude though plunging 11%, 110.29 a barrel, was back below 110 for a while. Brent global benchmark down 11.9%, 112.79 per barrel of Brent. Well, as for the market backdrop and what was behind today's move higher, David Deeds, the senior portfolio strategist of PTAC Private Wealth Management, he was our guest right here on Bloomberg Business Week.
If there's some resolution to Russia and Ukraine, perhaps that takes some of the steam out of the energy market, takes some of the steam out of the other commodities, including wheat, copper, nickel, and so forth, and that would give us a hope that inflation may be a little light at the end of the tunnel, and that could keep the Federal Reserve a little less hawkish.
And among the companies on with earnings after the bell, Kraus-Frank shares up by about 13%. Several hotel giants have ongoing reservations about Russia, while not completely checking out. Hilton Worldwide Holdings and Hyatt Hotels Corp say they will suspend the development of new hotels in Russia, joining a corporate backlash against the invasion of Ukraine. I'm Charlie Pellet. Bring on the guests of the Bloomberg Business Watch.
All right, Charlie Pellet, thank you so much. So I'm thinking, Sam, about our earlier conversations at the Bloomberg Live work shifting event. We're talking about what workers expect and are increasingly demanding in this tight labor market, what they want from employers. Greater pay, yep. Flexibility, sense of purpose, respect, a path to growth, and companies that have a clear mission that they can align themselves with. So our next guest has spent decades having conversations with companies and some of the best-known brands. He created a multi-billion-dollar advertising and marketing and branding agency along the way. We are delighted to have with us Donnie Deutsch, former CEO and chairman of Thursday. Today he is hosting the On Brand podcast and he joins us via Zoom in New York City. Donnie, good to have you here with us. How are you? Well, not to talk about when we get to your podcast, but we also want to ask you about having spent years talking to companies about their products, services, their branding. How does that conversation evolve? How has it continued to evolve to today?
Are you talking about as far as corporate conscience?
Yeah, corporate conscience and just how they think about it, right? It's, they've got to think about so many things when they put something out there.
Yeah, look, I'll work back from corporate conscience. Today this is price of entry, particularly for young people. But these companies used to want to be advertised because obviously you don't want to alienate one consumer, and then all of a sudden consumers, particularly 18 to 49, which is where the sweet spot is for most marketers, are demanding what companies have to say about voting rights, about racial equality. You're going to see companies interesting in Florida now with the Don't Say Gay, and Disney has come out against it. And you're seeing a lot, as you guys talked about earlier, all the companies pulling out of or stopping doing business with Russia. This is what young people care about. Not only the product, but the content and the way the company looks at the world. So very often right now, it's good business to have a good moral system.
Do investors care about it? All the stuff that's been put out there, Johnny, about multiple stakeholders. Business Roundtable did it a few years ago. We hear it incessantly, but I do wonder when it comes down to it, what's more important, bottom line, or that you are saying and doing the right thing? What's the connection?
To an investor, you're looking for bottom line, but obviously every investor has their own decisions to make in terms of the types of companies they do business with, but it really comes down to, when we go back again, is if you have a company that is tone deaf, and you have a company that won't stand up and say, we believe in voting rights, or we believe in racial equality, or certain things that are just kind of basic pillars of our democracy.
Next right, and then slight left turn.
So, as you're looking at a company's balance sheet, also it's not going to be on the balance sheet, but try and look at what they stand for and how they stand for it. And I think that's going to be critical.
Johnny, what are some companies that are doing a really good job of this right now? Who comes to mind for you?
I'm going to use Disney right now as an example. This is an issue that is, there are two sides. There are two sides to it as far as people having passionate feelings about it. We don't say gay was basically not bringing up in school any issues of gender, any issues of LGBTQ. The other side of the argument is, well, it only goes up to third grade, and we want this being discussed with such young children. And,
Slight left turn onto track
so you're going to have arguments on both sides, but Disney, which is a very progressive company, has a very big gay population within it as an employee base, took a stand and came out and said something, they were asked about. So you can't hide anymore. But I think that the companies, obviously any company that is giving percentages of their businesses away to certain charities, philanthropic, so it's not just issues, it's also being philanthropic.
What about when it comes to politics and how companies get involved increasingly in politics in this day and age? We saw a little bit of a pause after January 6th and, the riots at the Capitol in the insurrection, but it's kind of come back that companies are playing in politics again.
Yeah, they have it. But by the way, a company's going to be asked, what do you think of the Black Lives Matter? They can't hide. They can't hide. It used to be, well, we have no comment, and a no comment can backfire on you. So they still, most companies, if they had their way, they would not be venturing into politics or venturing into, certainly companies don't, for the most part, want to get behind a political candidate. Although I did see exceptions with companies, not say coming out against Trump, but very vocal choruses within the companies. But, particularly you're a big company, usually they have there's a word they call it a weakness of man. And the way it works, why companies are so sensitive to issues is, here's what happens. Let's say a company runs an ad, and it's offending somebody because of the way it represented a person or something like that. And somebody writes a letter to the CEO and says, dear Mr. CEO, I've been buying your product for 27 years, and like that,
your
and I don't know
destination is
my
ahead
product.
on the left.
They send that note down to the chief marketing officer with a letter. It's just one consumer. Just please take care of it.
Yeah.
Right. No CEO or not even one person. And you can always buy media in different places. And the CMO sees a note from the CEO that says, please take care of the mechanism. Like, do something about it. Let's get off this network, or let's get off this product. And so there's a lot of times I won't call it terrorism, but there's a lot of
Your
fighting.
destination is ahead
Johnny,
on the
sit back.
left.
We're going to come back and continue the conversation. Donnie Deutsch is with us. He's with Devon Brown with Donnie Deutsch. We'll continue in just a moment.
Let's go check the latest world and national news to Washington, D.C. we go. Hey there, Nancy Lyon.
Hey, Jim. Ukraine is not willing to cede a single inch of land to Russia, but it is willing to discuss some other issues, including neutrality. That's what the Deputy Chief of Staff to Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky told Bloomberg today.
This is the case if the world community will provide us with security guarantees so that
together with Russia, which also guarantees security, cannot repeating the situation, the aggressive war which is happening now. Yes, this question is discussed.
Igor Jakova, speaking exclusively with Bloomberg, says Ukraine desperately needs help defending the skies. And he urges a quick resolution of what to do with those MiG-29 jets that have been donated by Poland. The